It all started on one of those golden autumn mornings when the air smelled faintly of wood smoke and harvest, the kind of morning that makes you feel grateful just to be alive. I stood at the edge of my small cornfield, hands on my hips, watching the tall golden stalks sway in the light breeze. It was more than a harvest to me, it was my pride, my therapy, my connection to the land my father had once worked. After years of city life and loss, this patch of earth had given me peace again. But peace, as I learned, doesn't sit well with everyone, especially not with Karen. Karen was the self-appointed queen of our homeowners association, the kind of woman who wielded the rule book like a sword and thought she owned everyone's property along with her own. She had a permanent scowl that could curdle milk and an obsession with control that made living in the neighborhood feel like walking on eggshells. The moment she saw my small plot of corn sprouting behind my home, she pounced. "This isn't farmland, Jason," she had said during one home meeting, waving her manicured fingers at the photos she printed of my backyard. "Our neighborhood has aesthetic standards. Cornfields don't belong here. It's an eyesore." I tried reasoning with her. "It's not commercial, Karen, just a small personal crop. I'm not selling anything, it's for me. It helps me manage stress." She smirked, her voice dripping with that condescending tone only people like her have perfected. "Then maybe you should try yoga instead of turning your backyard into a barnyard." The others in the meeting just looked uncomfortable. Some rolled their eyes but didn't say a word. Karen ruled with intimidation, and most preferred to stay quiet rather than get on her bad side. So I kept growing my corn. I watered it every morning, pulled weeds, and waited patiently for harvest season. It became a symbol of quiet rebellion, a stand against the petty control of an HOA that had long forgotten what community really meant. Then, one night, that peace went up in flames. It was just past midnight when I woke to the smell of smoke. At first, I thought someone was burning leaves nearby, but when I looked out the window, my heart dropped onto my stomach. The field was on fire, a bright orange tongues of flame tearing through the dry stalks, crackling like laughter. I ran outside, barefoot, with the hose in my hand, but it was useless. The fire was too strong, the wind too cruel. I could only stand there, choking on smoke, as months of hard work burned to ashes before my eyes. The firefighters came fast, sirens echoing through the night. They battled the flames while neighbors gathered on their porches, whispering and pointing. I noticed one house's lights flickering nervously, Karen's. She was standing behind her curtains, watching, her face pale and tight. When the fire was finally out, the chief came over. "You got lucky," he said, his voice serious. "If that wind had shifted, it could have spread to your home or your neighbors. Someone set this intentionally, a accelerant was used." I froze. "You mean a broken bar arson?" He nodded grimly. "We'll investigate." But yes, this wasn't an accident. The next morning, word spread fast. The HOA sent out an email expressing concern and reminding residents about fire safety. I knew Karen had written it, the tone screamed her style. But something in that email made me suspicious. It ended with, "Let this be a reminder that non-compliant structures and vegetation can pose risks to community safety." I took a deep breath. That wasn't concern, that was guilt trying to hide behind policy. Days passed, and I rebuilt my fence. Though my field was now black and bare, I told myself to move on, to let the authorities handle it. But part of me couldn't rest. Something in my gut kept whispering that Karen had something to do with it. A week later, I got my answer. I was in my yard fixing a broken post when a police car pulled up in front of Karen's house. Two officers stepped out, followed by the fire marshal. Karen came running out, her robe flapping, yelling before they even reached her door. "What is this about?" "I didn't do anything," she shouted, glancing nervously at the neighbors gathering on the sidewalks. The fire marshal's voice was calm but firm. "Ma'am, we received footage from a security camera across the street. It shows someone matching your description near Mr. Whitaker's property shortly before the fire started." Her face drained of color. "That's ridiculous. I was walking my dog." One of the officers tilted his head. "At midnight, without your dog on this footage?" Karen stammered. words tumbling over each other. "Yeah, I just wanted to a broken bar check on something. That corn was a hazard. I told you all it could catch fire easily. I was protecting the neighborhood." There it was. The confession slipped right out in front of everyone. The crowd murmured, shock and disbelief rippling through them. Even the neighbors who had once sided with her looked away, ashamed. When they led her to the car, she tried to look defiant, but tears streamed down her cheeks. "You don't understand," she said, her voice trembling. "I was trying to keep things safe." But no one believed her anymore. The investigation confirmed it. Karen had poured lighter fluid along the edge of my cornfield, probably thinking it would only scorch a little, not spread like wildfire. She was charged with arson and reckless endangerment. The HOA tried to distance themselves from her, but the damage was done not just to the field, but to the neighborhood's sense of unity. In the weeks that followed, something unexpected happened. Neighbors I barely knew started stopping by. Some brought me meals, others helped clean up the burned soil. One man, David, offered to help me replant. "You shouldn't have to do this alone," he said. "That woman doesn't speak for all of us." And so, together, we worked. We tilled the soil, laid new seed, watered the earth with quiet determination. The following spring, green shoots emerged again, stubborn and strong. That summer, the field bloomed brighter than ever. Rows of tall, healthy corn swayed in the sunlight, a testament to resilience. Kids played near the edge, laughing, their parents chatting by the fence. The same fence that once marked division now became a place of connection. When harvest came, I hosted a neighborhood barbecue. Everyone came, everyone except Karen, who had since moved away. We laughed, shared food, and talked about how fragile peace can be, but also how strong a community can become when it's tested. I stood under the fading sunset, looking over the field that had once burned to ashes and now thrived again. And I realized something. Sometimes, destruction isn't the end. Sometimes it's the beginning of something stronger. A lesson in forgiveness, unity, and standing firm even when others try to tear you down. As the laughter carried through the warm evening air, I whispered to myself, "You can burn the corn, but not the spirit that planted it." And in that moment, I knew the fire hadn't taken anything from me. It had given me back something far greater, a community reborn from the ashes.